At this time, I would yield 6 minutes to Max Miller from the great state of Ohio.
The gentleman is recognized for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the gentleman from Mississippi for yielding. Mr. Speaker, the House Committee on Foreign Affairs has broad jurisdiction over national security and foreign policy, peacekeeping and peace enforcement, international law, and the promotion of democracy, and many other critical issues that require its members to be both objective and credible. Members of the Committee on Foreign Affairs represent the United States abroad and are regarded as credible emissaries of American foreign policy. Their words have significant weight in guiding our relations with other countries and are relied upon by world leaders. Most importantly, our allies such as Israel, the forever home of the Jewish people. But what happens when a committee member is no longer viewed as a credible emissary of our foreign policy? What if a member is barred from visiting one of our allies because of their prejudiced comments? How can members who are unable to engage with our allies in a constructive manner be considered credible members of the committee? Well, the gentlelady's discriminatory comments disqualified her from traveling to Israel in 2019. Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, would not allow Representative Omar to enter, saying, "We respect all political parties in the United States equally. However, we will also respect ourselves. Whoever comes to impose boycotts on us and to deny the legitimacy of the State of Israel, we will not allow them entry." Yes, the gentlelady disqualified herself from entry into one of the most important countries allied with the United States.
Something unusual happened on the House floor, and it instantly turned into one of the most talked about political moments online. Representative Max Miller stood up and directly challenged Ilhan Omar's place on the Foreign Affairs Committee by reading back her own past comments word for word. No media spin, no edited clips, just her statements, one after another, laid out in front of Congress. And honestly, when politicians start getting confronted with their exact words instead of headlines, things get uncomfortable fast.
Look at some of the gentlelady's comments. In February of 2019, barely more than a month after becoming a member of this body, Representative Omar suggested that the Jewish people and the American Israel Public Affairs Committee were buying political support, writing on Twitter, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby," clearly amplifying an anti-Semitic stereotype about the Jewish people and money. In response, Congressional Democratic leadership, her own party, immediately released a statement by saying, "Anti-Semitism must be called out, confronted, and condemned wherever it is encountered without exception." Not long after Representative Omar trivialized the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001, by describing that day of infamy as "some people did something." That's horrific. Some people did something. Yes, Mr. Speaker, some people did do something. Some people committed evil acts of terrorism and killed nearly 3,000 Americans. And in response, some thousands of our fellow citizens, myself included, enlisted in our armed forces to defend the gentlelady's right to make her prejudiced remarks. Many went off to combat and even died to defend that right. But they did not die fighting to have their bravery and love of country undermined by a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Mr. Speaker, I have no words to describe just how utterly unacceptable these comments are. But that's not all. In 2021, the gentlelady referred to Israel, which has the absolute right to defend itself against terrorism and attacks on its very existence, as an apartheid state. She even equated the United States and Israel, countries that have stood as beacons of democracy, to the Taliban and Hamas, organizations that impose terror on their regions in the world. Once again, even her Democrat colleagues swiftly condemned her comment. 12 Democrat members of this body released a statement which noted, equating the United States and Israel to Hamas and the Taliban is as offensive as it is misguided, ignoring the differences between democracies governed by the rule of law and contemptible organizations that engage in terrorism, at best discredits one intended argument and at worst reflects deep-seated prejudice from her own party. Some have decried this effort as a political game. Mr. Speaker, I assure you this is no political game. This resolution is not about engaging in a tit-for-tat with my colleagues. on the other side of the aisle. This is about keeping someone with a long record of anti-Semitic and anti-Israel bias off the Foreign Affairs Committee, which needs objective emissaries for our foreign policy. Even the Democrat former chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Eliot Engel, said that Representative Omar's anti-Semitic comments have no place in the Foreign Affairs Committee or the House of Representatives. That was in addition to the previously mentioned joint statement from 12 of the gentlelady's Democrat colleagues. The facts are clear. Representative Omar has espoused anti-Semitic and anti-Israel rhetoric time and again. She cannot be an objective contributor to the work of the committee, and she has brought dishonor to the House of Representatives.
Max Miller's argument was actually pretty simple, but politically explosive. He basically said the Foreign Affairs Committee isn't just another committee assignment where lawmakers sit around making speeches for cable news clips. These are the people representing America's image abroad. They deal with allies, diplomacy, national security, and global conflicts. So, according to Miller, credibility matters. And that's where he zeroed in on Ilhan Omar. He brought up the fact that in 2019, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu blocked Omar from entering Israel because of her past comments and support for boycott movements targeting the country. Miller's point was straightforward. If one of America's strongest allies won't even allow a committee member into the country, how can that person effectively represent U.S. foreign policy? That's the moment the entire debate shifted from politics into something much bigger about trust and representation. Then Miller started revisiting Omar's past remarks one by one. The "it's all about the Benjamins" comment, the comparisons involving Israel, Hamas, and the Taliban, and then came the line that changed the tone of the entire speech. Miller brought up Omar's description of 9/11 as "some people did something." And wow, you could feel the tension immediately. Because for millions of Americans, that phrase doesn't sound political. It sounds personal. Miller responded by reminding Congress that nearly 3,000 Americans died that day, and that thousands more enlisted afterward to defend the country. He even referenced soldiers who fought and died protecting the freedoms lawmakers now exercise in Congress. Whether people agree with Miller completely or not, politically, that was the strongest moment of the speech, because it connected foreign policy, patriotism, and national memory, all at once. Now, here's the distinction people keep missing in this debate. Nobody argued Omar shouldn't have free speech. Miller's argument was about consequences and standards. His position was that words carry weight when you're sitting on a committee responsible for America's relationships around the world. And honestly, that's not some radical idea. Foreign policy isn't social media. Statements made by members of Congress travel internationally. Allies hear them. Adversaries hear them. Every comment becomes part of America's image overseas. That's why this speech exploded online. People are tired of politicians hiding behind carefully crafted talking points. Miller took a different route. He simply used Omar's own public statements as the evidence against her. And whether people support him or support Omar, that approach forced a conversation Washington usually tries very hard to avoid. What standards should apply to people representing the United States internationally? Because once credibility with allies starts breaking down, rebuilding it is a whole lot harder than making a viral speech on the House floor. At the end of the day, this wasn't just another partisan fight in Congress. It was a debate about accountability, diplomacy, and whether words spoken by elected officials still carry consequences. Max Miller made it clear he believes America's foreign policy representatives should meet a higher standard, especially when dealing with allies like Israel. And judging by the reaction online, this argument is far from over. Stay informed, stay sharp, and we'll see you in the next one. For more information and breakdown like this, like and subscribe to Capitol Briefing.